What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and comment down below. Today is the day you already know. It's day number 29 of my segment in the month of madness. Every single day in the month of October, I have been recommending a horror movie for you to watch. And today, what do we have? We always got something special. So let's see. Senor, oh, I thought it was over there. It's over here. The return of Senor the Goodie Bag. What do we have today? Bam! A Nightmare on Elm Street. This right here in particular is A Nightmare on Elm Street. All the 7 film Blu-ray collection. I got this from Amazon, Prime Day. Shout out to Prime Day. Anyway, so I've actually heard that Shout Factory might be working on a Nightmare on Elm Street box set, the same as what they did with the Friday the 13th. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street is a 1984 film starring Robert Englund, the original Freddy, the Freddy that everybody knows, the one and only Freddy, Jackie, whatever his name is, aka Rorschach from damn, what the hell was that movie? Watchmen? He ain't Freddy. Rob's Freddy. Anyway, glad I got that off my chest. It also stars a very young Johnny Depp, and then also Heather. The cool thing is, recently me and my wife went to go see Nightmare on Elm Street 3 at a midnight showing. I think it was last year, around the same time, and Heather was there, and I wish I would have brought some stuff for her to sign, so she could have signed it. I didn't even know she was going to be that nice and sign stuff, and I completely regret it. But anyway, I digress. So today we honestly went to go see this movie at a drive-in because COVID done messed every damn thing up, so we had to go watch it in a drive-in. So shout out to that dumbass that was sitting in front of us with the lights on that took forever to turn the motherfuckers off. Anyway, I digress. So, Nightmare on Elm Street, quick synopsis. There's a young girl, has these nightmares, these reoccurring nightmares featuring this man with a freaking clawy, glovey hand. Hey, that rhyme. And she keeps having this reoccurring nightmare, and she starts noticing that her friends are being killed. They're all having the same dream, sort of. They're having the dream of the same person. So they're all wondering, damn, who the hell is this guy? So after people get picked off, a young Nancy discovers the dark past of who Freddy is and what he has to do with her, right? I don't want to give away too much of the story because, even though it's from 1984 and all you damn people watching this should have watched this damn movie already, but who knows? There might be somebody out there saying, I never saw Nightmare on Elm Street. Shame on you. But anyway, so the one thing that I noticed about this movie is the first thing that got me was how awesome the film score is. The film score does an amazing job at setting the mood. You have piano scores, and then you have this sound effect sounding like somebody's getting shot with some lasers from Chopping Mall. Anyway, so yeah, the film score in the movie is honestly freaking amazing. Robert Englund does an amazing job as Freddy, as he's did in every single film that he's done as Fred Krueger, from Nightmare on Elm Street 1 to all the way to Freddy vs. Jason. Rob does an amazing job as Freddy, and he is Freddy, hands down. Anyway, so with that being said, another thing that's dope about this movie is the concept behind it. During this time, we are filled with slasher movies that are pretty basic. Either you're using a machete, a kitchen knife, a hatchet, an axe, a chainsaw, and there's different reoccurring weapons and instruments of death, right? But not Freddy. Freddy has a very unique way of killing, and he has a very unique weapon to kill. He has a glove with knives for fingertips, right? And he uses this in very sadistic manners. And then another thing that I like about this movie is the abstract killing. When you watch a lot of the old school horror movies, shout outs to the sirens and the ambulance in the background. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear it. Anyway, Freddy just took another victim. Right. So, when you watch old school horror movies, they have like very plain Jane, straightforward kills. Like, knife through the mouth, knife through the chest, stab him through the stomach. Plain stuff, right? But Freddy's ways of killing are very abstract. You have the scene where he basically hangs somebody in a dream. You have when old girl gets thrown on the ceiling and she's bouncing around and she's just getting gutted, right? You have the scene where Glenn gets sucked into the freaking bed and then blown out into bits and chunks of like freaking baby blood vomit, right? All of these different ways of killing are just super freaking unique. And when you're watching the movie, you're just like amazed. And then, the more it gets into the film series, the more abstract the killings get. But me personally, the reason why I like Nightmare on Elm Street #1 is because, Freddy's serious. Once you start getting later into the films, Freddy starts to become jokey and campy and kind of cheesy and corny. And that's cool. Don't get me wrong. But it takes away the serious undertone of the film. And who sadistic and magnificent Freddy really is, And honestly, to me, the goofiness kind of takes away from his character. And in a way, it makes his character, but at the end of the day, I appreciate the first Nightmare on Elm Street because it takes him serious. It's hard to start taking him serious in the later films because it just gets to the point where it's just like he's a wise ass. Now, like I said, the practical effects in this film are super dope as well, too. That goes hand in hand with the way that he kills people. Honestly, the final act of the movie is pretty dope when she pulls him out of the dream sequences and she has this real life fight with him and basically he ends up taking her mom away. But, I digress. And they're like, oh, well, you just told the fucking movie anyway. Anyway, so, the point of the matter is this. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a must-watch during the Halloween season. In the month of October, you have to find a minute to go ahead and pop that baby in. Now, quickly, I'll just glance over the new Nightmare on Elm Street, and I will say this. Although I am not a fan of the new Nightmare on Elm Street, I like the direction that it was trying to go. Now, it's always been hinted that, okay, Freddy's the child killer, right? And there's always been that thing in the back of the head where you're just like, okay, this dude's like low-key kind of perverted. He's probably like a child molester. And in the new Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, they kind of just touch on that and say, yes, Freddy's a pervert, right? He's a child murderer and he's a child rapist. And to me, the direction that they were going in the film made sense because they were trying to portray it as Freddy was wrongfully accused of these heinous acts. And therefore, he's coming back to seek revenge against the family that falsely accused him. That makes sense to me. Just to me. That makes complete sense why he would be able to resurrect and seek vengeance on the family that killed him because he was wrongly accused. But then they flip it back and then they turn out that, hey, you know what? This motherfucker was a weirdo. So, yeah. So he just turned into the super devil or some shit that's able to haunt you in your dreams. Now, like I said, I honestly, if they would have kept it the other way, I think it would have made more sense. That's just for me from a film standpoint. But, studio's going to do what a studio's going to do. But the one thing that I and plenty of other people hate about the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street is that motherfucking face. Dude, that face looks like an inside-out testicle. It looks disgusting. I don't understand why they went with this scrotum face Jackie. Wasn't it Jackie Early? That freaking costume was heinous. It was horrible. If you've watched Dragon Ball Z, that looks like the inside of Majin Buu on his face. Alright? That looks like somebody done waxed his face and left the pink skin on. that freaking CGI was terrible. And like, it just, sometimes you sit back and you wonder, why do these studios even waste their time with CGI? Why? You just go practical. Just put on makeup. Just go that route. Why waste your time with CGI when you know that it doesn't look good? You want people to watch these movies and feel like, hey, you know what? That shit looks realistic, right? When I'm watching CGI, I never feel like it's realistic. Like, it always looks fake. I've never watched a movie with CGI and it was like, damn, dude, like that CGI, like, oh, that made me feel like, yeah, I was really there. Like that character was gonna jump out and get me. I've never felt that way with any movie. When I watch, when I watch The Thing, and you watch that freaking decapitated head crawl away, you feel like that's a real damn head crawling away. When you watch that freaking transformation scene in American Werewolf in London, you feel like this motherfucker really is changing into a werewolf. When you see that transformation scene in The Howling, you feel like that motherfucker really over there transforming. You know, like, it's just some movies where you watch and you're just like, damn, dude, like, them practical effects was like, they ain't on point. You know, but I digress. We have studios that go a completely different route, and honestly, I don't know why they waste their time with CGI. I understand it's cheaper. It's a cheaper approach. You spend less money, but at the same time, it's just like, you know, why don't you just fork out the extra money and just get good quality for what you're trying to do? I'm tired of these film franchises or these studios taking over franchises with well-known names, well-established names, and they don't respect the franchise. I hate it with a passion. I can name several. But anyway, I digress. Nightmare on Elm Street, this baby right here, is something that you want to view during the Halloween season in the month of October, in the month of madness. And that's it. So tune in tomorrow, where I honestly will probably have something very special for you tomorrow. And this is Davey from the 80s, and you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. I hope you guys have hit the subscribe button on the way out. And until next time, adios.